Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of The Stash, report from The Stash Project. Today is June 30th, 2017, officially now, halfway through the year. We have a pretty decent little shoe for you here. Got some new kit announcements from Aoshima, as well as, of course, a number of releases as we finish out the month of June. So let's just hop right on into the new stuff here. Aoshima has their stuff out. There's sort of like a fill for August, some more additional reissues that were announced, as well as their September lineup. So on the August side of things, we have the last four of the Grand Champion kits from the original Grand Champion series, and they are the Z10 Toyota Soar. The Z10 is the first gen Toyota Soar. The Celica 2000 GT Liftback, as well as the 330 Gloria and the 430 Gloria, and those again are two different chassis codes. The 330 ran from the mid 70s on to the very beginning of the 1980s, and the 430 Gloria was the early 1980s version. So those again are the cars with all of the over fenders and the little tiny 14-inch wheels and things like that. So these are going to be the last four of those. There were 16 kits altogether in the original series, because there's about 3 or 4 different Grand Champion series all told between all the various kits. But Aoshima has been systematically releasing all 16 of the original ones that had not been reissued in the last 9 years. And this will, again, in August, fulfill the last of them. And then you have a reissue of the R34 Skyline V-Spec 2, and that's a reissue of a model car lineup kit that was just done a few months ago. Reissue of the BM Sports Mark II Toyota, little drift car that just came out a month and a half ago. Reissue of the Celica Liftback 2000 GT, as well as reissue of the Mark II Chaser MX41. That's the kit that we just saw come out a couple of months ago, that has the 2 different bodies in it, as well as a reissue of the Longchamp XR4 and TE37 gravel wheels that are in the 16-inch wheel size that go to the Toyota Truno kits and things of that nature. So, like I said, the last 5 of those things, the last 4 of those kits and those wheel sets are reissues again of things that have been done here recently within the last probably, I would say, 3 months or so, that have sold out and are being just restocked in. So excellent job, guys, in selling out some kits. Always good to get them some profit. May make you something that you're more interested in down the line. And then in September here, we have our sort of the first run out of the kits. These are the things that will be packaged into the new kit series. And they are on the model car side of things. A 1981 Nissan Skyline GT GTS. This is following the trend of the current Skyline kits for the 60th anniversary, where they are adding a few new pieces and parts into them, new grills, new taillight areas, and things like that to update the years that they represent. They're also going to be reissuing their 430 Gloria Cedric Brome kits, and those are going to have new grills and new wheels. Actually, I should say it's a combination kit. Everything's going to be in one box, but there's new grills and new wheels for that. And then over on the tuned model car lineup, they're going to be reissuing the Honda Beat RS Mach and the Mola Sport Suzuki Cappuccino. They're also going to be, in the pre-painted kits, going to be reissuing their 1983 Toyota Truno AE86 kit, and they're going to be available in either a black and white paint scheme or a red and white paint scheme. So 2 different kits there. And then they're going to be reissuing 4 more sets of 14-inch wheels, and they are the Heart 5, Shadow 5, Mark 1, and Star. All of those are 5-lug 14-inch wheels. All of the previous, I believe it will end up being 16 sets of wheels, because they again go to the 16 Grand Champion kits that were just reissued here recently, or going to be reissued in the next month or two. Those were all 4-lug wheels, so these are the beginning of the 5-lug wheels, which may lead you to think that there may be more Grand Champion kits coming sooner than later. So we'll see. And then the last thing that's officially on the September release list now was, of course, announced back at the Shizuoka Hobby Show, and that is the Liberty Walk Nissan GTR R35 version 1. So that's the modified tooling of the current GTR with the over fenders and everything. All the goodies to make that powder blue Liberty Walk car that I know a lot of us really were hoping to get much earlier in this agreement, but patience has paid off so long as you were not one of the people that ran out and bought either the Hobby Design or the 8181 resin trans kit somewhere along the way. Gotta grab the Hobby Dog. The Hobby Dog is trying to eat the paint off the walls because puppy. I can't even pick him up to show you guys anymore. It's been, what, a month and a half since he made his debut, and he's just gargantuan. Not that that's a surprise, you know. We said he's going to be a big dog, and he is a big puppers at this point. He's not even quite 3 months old yet, and he's gargantuan. So, should be interesting to see how big he gets. Over on the release side of things, pretty much everything came in, including a whole bunch of stuff this morning to pretty much finish out the expected kits for the month of June. There was one domestic release, or I should say domestic release of an import kit, and that is this, the new Revell of Germany Porsche 934 RSR Valiant Kramer Racing kit. This is one of two new tool R34 or R34 934 RSR kits that are being done, or well, actually they are done. They were released in Europe at the beginning of the year and are just taking their la-di-da time to be distributed here in the United States officially. You've been able to buy them on eBay for quite a while now, but if this is officially the distribution of the Valiant livery. I assume that the Jägermeister livery is still coming. I mean, they've distributed the Jägermeister little cargo van thing, so I don't think there's any licensing reason why that couldn't be distributed. But be that as it may, maybe it'll come out next month. Tomorrow, of course, being the 1st of July, we'll see if Revell is in on the 3rd. To do their to update their product listing. If not, we may have to wait until after the holidays to figure out the July compilation video. And then so going into the kits here, so a couple of these things are not quite like the others. Most of this is going to be Aoshima stuff, but first up from Ebro, another one of the kits that has come out that had no firm release date, and this is the Team Lotus Type 91 1982. This is sort of like after the season was over. This is the Satoru Nikijima F1 test car. This is kind of an interesting kit in the sense that when this car was tested in 1-1 real life, they tried a couple of different rear fairings on this and ended up deciding to just leave the fairing off entirely. And that is what this kit represents, is the way it was tested without the rear fairing. So this kit doesn't come with a rear fairing. So even if you wanted to put one on, you are SOL unless you go buy one of the other Type 91 kits, because this kit legitimately does not come with the parts to put the rear fairing on. This testing of this car was very good for this driver who got a contract to drive for them based on the test. It's a pretty in-depth kit. A lot of parts to it. Obviously, there's a great deal of detail to the engine bay and the rear suspension areas, especially since they're being, very visibly shown. A lot of people, of course, could build an F1 car and never take the rear cowling off and, leave the engine out for all intents and purposes. You don't really have the option here because of the way this kit is designed. So it does come with the wiring that the box art shows, and like I said, a bunch of detail. I don't build F1 kits. Guys know I just have the one that I won in a raffle. But this really is a pretty in-depth kit in the sense of being even intriguing to me. Not going to be intriguing enough for me to purchase it, but it's certainly, if you're into this era of F1, certainly something to consider. It's a little pricey. We just had a conversation in the comment section of the last video about Ebro and their pricing. This one is like $62, and that's from Japan, so it's pricey, but it is sort of one of those weird sort of one-off cars. I mean, where else are you going to get one? So you kind of have to deal with that. And then the other kits that are not Aoshima this week are from Hasegawa. and they are a reissue of the Honda N360, and this is going to be the N2 Touring Edition. We covered this, of course, from the uh, Shizuoka Hobby Show. This has the new front grille and mirror areas to make it specifically into the N2 Touring. You can also build the N2 Super Deluxe out of this as well, based on the parts that are included with this. So if you wanted to do something else, you could do that. As far as I know, the other two kits are still in the catalog and still available, so you don't really have to buy this kit specifically to get the N2 Deluxe. That comes with, I believe, the uh, N362 kit, because there's an N361 and N362, and this is the N2 Touring. This is the sporty version of the N2. And then the other kit that came out of Hasegawa, of course, is the one that I know a lot of people will be very, very interested in, is the all-new tool BMW 2002 Tii. Now, this represents the 1971 model year. You do get two different style of mirrors, as well as two different style front bumper appliques for the front bumper rub strips. You get rear bumper rub strips that are not, basically, they're not on the car in 1971, but they are on the car in the later years. So this is, they call them bonus parts in the instructions. But this kit does come with gauge cluster decals and several other details that allow you to also build it as a 1973 in addition to the 1971 version. It's only one set of wheels because basically the wheels were identical through 1973. 1974 is when the turbo would have come along, which is a kit I know a lot of people would. I don't know a lot of people, but several people were like, I wish they would have done this instead of. I say cool your jets and just see what else they have coming. From inspecting the instructions, there's a lot of very subtle, unique ways that this kit is engineered to allow it to have future versions. The way the front bumper attaches, the way the grille goes together, all of the black pieces on the grille are separate from the actual chrome surrounds. That's very nice in terms of painting and assembly. There's nothing to mask off because all of the pieces will just glue into the chrome surrounds for the grille. But the front bumper and the rear bumper are separate, which is very important when you're talking about a turbo, because there are no bumpers on the car in at least in the conventional sense. It'll just be a matter of adding some over fenders either to a new body in the sense of new side pieces for the molding, or just putting over fenders in beside that, because all of the lower side trim on the N2 is separate. Now the chrome piece that goes around basically the upper belt line are also separate pieces as well, but those are also on the turbo. But that lower sort of black rub strip that's on the very bottom of the door that runs the also around the width of the bumpers, that's not on the turbo version, nor are the bumpers. So having that be separate, you know, it's going to require you, in the way the instructions are worded, is you're told to basically put a tape line that patterns the chrome trim, because the chrome trim fits into like divots on the body. Basically, put a tape line down that's parallel with the chrome, and then put and glue the lower trim on with that, because there's no positive attachment points basically for it. It is, you're just sort of freehand gluing it on there. So, in order to keep it straight, basically their suggestion was to, put a tape line down, which seems to be pretty reasonable, because otherwise you have to glue the front and back bumpers on and then try to eyeball it. And I'm just going to say you're going to wind up with it being crooked. I wouldn't want to eyeball it just because I don't trust myself. Uh, the tape line, even if you don't leave the tape on, just creating a line that is straight to glue it on. But the reason why I think that's very neat, in the sense of it not being part of the body molding, is makes a turbo much easier, as well as any other version of this kit they want to do. They go backwards and do an 1800 as well. Is the fact that with that being separate, a lot of people who customize these, even mild customization where you're just putting new wheels on it and just sort of smoothing it out, so to speak, the first thing that goes are those lower body moldings. So having them be separate makes it a lot easier for you guys. They're going to going to get this and automatically wheel swap it and start doing some customization work to it. And not build it completely factory stock, and now you don't have to sand the trim off to get that smooth lower body, because they're not on there to begin with. So thumbs up on the thought process there. And that'll take us over to Aoshima. Again, a bunch of stuff here. First up, there's a couple of new detail upsets that are out. One of these I don't believe existed before. The other one is a new and improved version. The one that didn't exist before is this. This is for the Toyota Century, which of course is the great big full-size Royal limousine type deal. Obviously, the one that the Royals use is a brand new one, and this sort of is a 1990. This body style went up to 2005 before there was a refresh of the entire car. But this is sort of the car that is, the vehicle to own in Japan. Now, especially now that Nissan President doesn't exist anymore. What was very, very neat about this photo etch set is, as you look at it, that stuff that looks like it's red in the background is actually wood grain painted photo etch. There's also a painted gauge cluster as well, so this is going to be really cool. We've seen some of this painted photo etch now, or pre-printed photo etch, if you want to call it that, with some of the Lamborghinis that have come out recently. So interesting to see them continue to do that. This also has some metal seals, metal stickers, basically, as well as the photo etch. And then the other thing is this, which is a sort of generic, if you will, photo etch set for the 2007 and 2010 Subaru WRX STI 5-door. There are two grills on the photo etch sheet, so you can make either the 07 or the 10 on the one photo etch sheet. And then you obviously the stuff that's generic, if you will, to the system, like brakes and all that stuff, carries over. And the new improved part here is there are metal stickers, metal transfers for some of the wording, as well as the new 4 turn metal exhaust tips. There was a detail upset for the WRX as it was, but it did not include the exhaust tips or the metal transfers. And frankly, I don't think it was quite as big a sheet of photo etch. I'd have to go dig mine out and look at it, but I don't think it was as big. On to kits. One reissue, and that is the Pagani Huayra getting another run. So you guys, once again, have bought that out. This actually sold out immediately after it was reissued again back in March, and they gave it a little bit of a time to have demand build up, if you will, and so it's back out. And then we go into stuff from the model car and the tuned model car side of things. On the tuned model car, you have a reissue of the MAZDASPEED GTC Concept FD3S RX7. Pretty much standard reissue of this kit. It does come with a set of stock RX-7 wheels, as well as an entire smoked glass. If you look at the box art, you see there are smoked glass sort of turn signal covers. Yeah, you get an entire second set of glass that is tar black smoked thing. So you could really put some tinted windows in this thing, as well as having the headlights and taillights and everything else be tinted as well. If you build it according to the instructions, you just use the tinted headlight covers, and then everything else is just straight off the clear sheet. Reissue of the Toyota Hilux Custom RN30. This is supposed to be like a 1978 Toyota Hilux. Again, it'd be really cool if we could throw a left-hand drive dashboard into this kit, but still not coming with one as of yet. You do get 2 sets of wheels with this. You get the sort of Dayton-esque wheels with the knockoff spinners that you see here, and then there's a set of 5-spoke wheels that are sort of interlaced with like a 5-spoke. I don't know if it's necessarily a back piece to the wheel or if it's part of the wheel itself, but it looks like there's a starfish on the back of a 5-spoke wheel. It's the best way I can describe it without digging a picture up of it. But beyond that, it's a reissue of the lowrider Toyota Hilux. You get a reissue here of the Toyota 86 Truno TRD N2 spec. This, of course, is the Truno with the Nuremberg over fenders and aero package. The Watanabes that you see on the box art are the only wheels that come with it. There is no engine. It is curbside, and it's, again, that's just a straight reissue of an existing kit. You get over here the Silk Blaze Toyota Hiace version 3. Reissue of an existing kit. There's nothing different about this than there is in any of the other version 3s, which is a pretty new kit. I think 2013 is when they made the version 3 version of the Silk Blaze Hiace. There's a version 1 and version 2 as well. Reissue of the Toyota 86 Truno in the initial D series, and this is a pre-painted kit, so it is pre-painted black and white. It is also a curbside, which is important to note because if you guys know your 86 Trunos, you know that the initial D kits are the ones with engines in them, not this one. This one, being a pre-paint, is a curbside, so remember that when you go to buy that, if you want to be quote-unquote lazy and not paint it. It'll make a nice little weekend build because of course Aoshima does paint the entire kit from top to bottom, but of course all the mold lines are in there, so keep that in mind as well. And then last but not least, we go into the model car series, and all of these are modified reissues or just straight reissues of Nissan Skylines. So this is sort of the beginning of the 60th anniversary celebration from Aoshima. So first up is this Nissan Skyline 2000 GT from 1971. This is a straight reissue of an existing kit. This is the first time that the box art has been honest about the wheels that come with it. This is the kit that you see, if you go back far enough, is listed as being the first Skyline, back when all the box art said first Skyline, second Skyline, all the way up through seventh Skyline. And even that was not necessarily the most honest way to package it, because the second Skyline for them was the PGC-10, and then there's 5 different models of the first generation Skyline, and they counted them all as they made them. So it's you go, oh, this third generation Skyline, and you're like, no, that's still a first gen Skyline. It's just a very late model one. So this kit does come with these. I believe they're supposed to be Volk Racing mesh wheels. It is a best car vintage kit, as all of these are going to be. The only thing about this kit that is new, that has not been in it recently, is it has a small fret of photo etch, some Skyline scripting, and logos. There's also a set of Watanabes in this that they're calling racing mags, I believe is how the instructions said it. But this is a, like I said, reissue of an existing kit. There's nothing new about it other than the inclusion of that photo etch fret. Then over here we've got the 1970, I want to say this is a 1973, because technically this is supposed to be a GTR, although I think it might also just be a Skyline. But this is the number 73, hence the 1973. Ken and Mary Phantom Racer. Now this kit comes with a full interior and all that sort of things, because this is a tribute car to the Japanese Grand Prix GTR that ran in 1973. But it does come with a back seat. There's a very limited 3-point roll cage in it, things like that. Again, this is a reissue of an existing kit. Of course, this kit was then re-updated and reissued later when the guys at Liberty Walk did a tribute to the same car. And if you are not confused totally by that, there's actually still a model kit of the real one as well. So, yeah, tribute car. I don't think it's technically a street legal vehicle unless those headlight covers come off, but the way you see it on the box art is the way it builds. And then these next two are going to be the ones that have some new parts included. First up is a 1972 Nissan Skyline 2000 GT. There's a new front grille area, a new rear taillight area. I believe that the bumpers themselves are the original bumpers from the early 1980s when these kits were originally done. There's also a new set of hubcaps that are the genuine aluminum hubcaps, and then they've created a new wheel, an actual new tire tool, a 14-inch tire tool that is a 1970s tire that is included in this. This kit also comes with the photo etch fret. I don't believe it's the exact same one as the other one, but it does include Skyline scripting and the logos. It does still come with the original parts in terms of building it. I believe it's a 1973, or it might be, I think it will be 1973 because 1971 will be the other one. So it's just a slight little modification to the existing tooling. I think there's I think there's like 5 new parts to this, basically, not including the wheels. So there's that, and then the next one is the 1974 Skyline 2000 GTX. same principle. New front grille, new rear taillight area, the same hubcaps, but new hubcaps and the new wheels. This is basically forward dating the car because there's a 1973 two-door, so this is now a 1974 two-door. Again, small little photo etch fret, and yeah, it is what it is. Just really showing proof that you can stretch a tooling dollar till it turns into several tooling quarters. Um, and they'll sell. I don't know if they'll sell out, but they'll sell because they are technically kits that you could not make before, because there's just a little bit of a difference between the grills and the taillights. Between the 72, 73, and 74. We're going to be seeing here through the rest of the summer a 76, a 77, a 78, as well as, let's see, a 79 and an 81. So pretty much anything in that mid 70s, the early 80s Skylines, and these are all going to be, like I said, Skylines, they're not GTRs. So it's kind of an interesting little twist on things, presuming that you are, of course, attuned to building a generic sort of four-door, two-door Skyline rather than being all GTRs all the time. So anyway, guys, I think that pretty much wraps it up for this week. Hope you guys have a great 4th of July weekend. And if some people, it's a 4-day weekend. I will be working my normal schedule, so I'll be off on the 4th. But I am still going to be working tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. So I'll get a couple of days off, but nothing special. Well, I'll get paid for not working on the 4th, so that's always a good thing. But, anybody who's going to be out on the roads, be safe, and we'll see you guys.